This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Power play. Ottawa loans $200 million to a wind farm company hoping to challenge Nova Scotia Power for customers.
Classroom crisis. Teachers speak out about a surge of school violence that's driving many to quit the profession.
And freeze ends. The province ends a hold on Halifax development fees, allowing the city to raise charges to help pay for growth.
High pressure moving in means sunshine on tap over the next couple of days. All your forecast details are coming up.
Good evening. Nova Scotians will soon have another choice of electricity provider. An energy company that wants to be a competitor to Nova Scotia Power is getting a big boost from Ottawa.
The Canada Infrastructure Bank is loaning more than $200 million to Renewal Energy to help it build a wind farm on the South Shore. Taryn Grant reports.
Renewal Energy has cleared a major hurdle. It now has the money it needs for its first wind farm. The company's president says this marks a major change for the province's electricity market.
It's not just another wind farm, the Mersey River wind farm. It's through Renewal, it's going to be able to bring choice to electricity customers in Nova Scotia for the first time.
Renewal has a site in Queens County on the South Shore for its 150 megawatt project. Its 33 turbines could power up to 50,000 homes. The electricity generated there will have to travel across the Nova Scotia Power grid. Renewal will pay a tariff to use it, but its customers will pay their power bills directly to Renewal. Roscoe says the major upside is having long-term, predictable power rates.
We will offer competitive rates, but our rates, customers will be able to sign up for a long-term contract. So residences will be limited to 5 years, but commercial and industrial customers can sign up to 20 years.
About half the energy at the Mersey River project is spoken for. Several commercial and industrial customers are already signed up, including White Point Beach Resort, which also hosted an announcement about the federal funding on Thursday. White Point owner Robert Risley says rate stability is part of the appeal, but it's also about being a responsible corporate citizen.
It was almost a no-brainer, as they say. It's a win-win situation for everyone, and it's not very often you find that.
Premier Tim Houston was on hand to laud Renewal's project and to accept a bit of help from Ottawa for a project of his own. Natural Resources Canada is putting $5 million into a feasibility study for Wind West, Houston's ambitious offshore wind project.
The main constraint on that is not the wind. The wind is there, and it blows a lot. But the constraint would be, where's the power going to go and how are we going to move it? So that's what this is about today.
Renewal's Mersey River wind farm is expected to have turbines spinning around the end of this year. Taryn Grant, CBC News, Hunts Point.
Independent MLA and former PC Cabinet Minister Becky Drouin says if Premier Tim Houston wants to hear more of what she has to say, he should waive restrictions placed on her from her time in the PC government. During question period Wednesday, Drouin asked Justice Minister Scott Armstrong whether he was aware of any instance where Houston or someone in on his behalf ever tried to influence a police investigation. While the minister answered no, Houston could be heard challenging Drouin to speak outside the chamber, away from where MLAs have privilege. Drouin told reporters today she had no plan to make the request prior to the Premier's taunt.
Now requires me to ask questions on the floor of the legislature. And these are questions that Nova Scotians want answers to and deserve answers to. And instead of getting answers, the Premier's response was to invite me to speak outside. So I'm merely responding to the invitation that he offered.
Armstrong told the House today that the government would not waive cabinet confidentiality for Drouin, adding that it's an important part of parliamentary democracy.
Canadian teachers say classroom violence has hit a crisis point. Many, including teachers here in Nova Scotia, are dealing with daily incidents and warn it's hurting the education of every student. Kayla Hounsell now with their calls for stronger protections.
When the bell rings, classes are in and there's an expectation of safety. Increasingly, teachers say it isn't so.
It's the first thing you think of when you wake up in the morning. It's the last thing you think of when you go to bed at night.
She's not talking about extreme cases involving guns and loss of life, which are rare, but teachers say they're worried about everyday violent behavior.
I have seen anything from furniture being thrown across the room, hitting staff, hitting children.
Denise Kelly is still subbing after recently retiring as a full-time teacher in Nova Scotia, where more than 27,000 incidents of physical violence were reported in the last school year.
It's absolutely a trend across the country, and it's one of the things that's also driving teachers to leave the profession.
In a recent nationwide survey of its members, the Canadian Teachers Federation found 100% of elementary school teachers were significantly concerned about violence in their schools. In Ontario in 2025, teaching assistants filed more claims to take time off work as a result of workplace violence than any other profession. Elementary teachers came in fourth, and the number of claims elementary teachers filed in 2025 was more than 4 times that of 2021.
So we're talking about harassment and violence in the workplace that is extremely pervasive.
This researcher says the reason for the rise in violent behavior is largely due to funding cuts and students with greater needs, but also points to the affordability crisis.
We find ourselves in a perfect storm of major stressors across this country and decades worth of legislation and policies that have culminated in violence becoming a symptom of a school system that's not functioning properly.
I would have to say that technology is a big thing.
Kelly says kids who are parked in front of screens don't develop the same interpersonal skills and the ability to self-regulate. At the end of the day, she says classrooms are not safe, students are missing out on valuable instructional time, and something needs to change. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Halifax.
Mike Smith has pleaded not guilty to a single charge of sexual assault. Smith is better known as Bubbles from the TV show Trailer Park Boys. He's accused of assaulting a woman in December of 2017. He'll go on trial for 3 days in October in provincial court in Dartmouth.
The Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation is closing its Scotia Square location in downtown Halifax, citing a significant increase in the number of thefts. The NSLC said the store has faced ongoing safety and security challenges as well as low sales. Gareth Hampshire reports.
A sign on the door confirms the NSLC at Scotia Square is closing after a dramatic increase in thefts at the location. The company released statistics showing the number of theft incidents increased by more than 160% from last April to the end of January. Its other stores in the province saw an increase of about 15%. The NSLC said it's faced ongoing challenges at the location, including low sales, and released a statement to CBC to say it has a dedicated security team and processes in place to help mitigate and deal with incidents, and continues to work closely with authorities to support investigations, as well as looking at new ways to discourage theft in stores and reverse the trend. It's a trend that's a growing concern for the Downtown Halifax Business Commission.
It's an ongoing issue, and it's something that impacts the bottom lines of lots of businesses in the downtown core.
The company that manages Scotia Square released a statement to CBC to explain safety is a top priority, and it continuously reviews security procedures to proactively manage safety and security. Halifax Police confirmed they've been getting increased calls to the mall for the past 3 years, with a significant jump in the last year.
Besides being financially an issue for businesses, you also got to think about the staff who are in the store working. I know it can be very scary to have someone, barge in and commit a theft.
Police have community response officers, he says, who work with mall tenants and security to try to deal with the issues and maintain a presence.
Be visible, engage with the community, engage with, in this case, store owners who are having issues.
But with the rise in crime and the fact there are other nearby locations, the NSLC has decided it's leaving. The last day for its Scotia Square location is February 27th. Gareth Hampshire, CBC News, Halifax.
And Ryan joining us now with the weather.
And quite a bit of melting going on today.
Yeah, you could almost hear the snow melting this afternoon. Temperatures on the plus side, the sunshine, more sunshine on tap for tomorrow. Temperatures a little bit cooler, but we will jump onto the plus side along the Atlantic coastline, especially, including the metro area. A bit cooler tomorrow across the north, where temperatures are going to be right near the freezing mark or slightly below freezing. Winds from the west and generally a pretty quiet day. This area of high pressure moving in, driving this storm system to the south. And so we'll enjoy high pressure for Friday with the sun and also for Saturday as well, which is great. Are watching an incoming system, and that will bring increasing clouds and, yes, some flurries into the mix for Sunday. Sunday still relatively mild, but boy, on the other side of this front comes the coldest shot of air we've seen in about a month. We'll talk about that with your full 7-day forecast coming up in a couple of minutes.
All right, stay tuned. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
The provincial government says it will not stand in the way of Halifax's hopes to increase development fees. The charges have been frozen for nearly 3 years in a bid to increase housing. But councillors say they are now among the lowest in Canada. Haley Ryan has more.
As buildings rise around Halifax to keep up with the city's population boom, municipal councillors are worried about money being left on the table. The province froze the city's development-related fees, such as fees for water or solid waste, about 3 years ago to incentivize construction. On Tuesday, Halifax Council agreed to ask the province to end that freeze and then explore options for new or increased charges.
We set our fees at a time when Halifax was not growing at all, and we're just in a totally different context now.
A recent study said the fees for Halifax high-rise development units are the second lowest in Canada, cheaper than Charlottetown and St. John's.
I'm just really concerned that we're missing out on the housing boom that's happening. We could have an increase in fees that would really help us with our budget.
Some councillors say the city's current system is not working because both the property tax and development fees coming from new buildings do not cover the services needed to support this growth. They say the current fees cover less than half of the cost to even process new development applications.
You know, the cost of development should be paid for by the people who are, capitalizing on that.
The province extended the freeze until November as part of a multi-million-dollar infrastructure agreement with the federal government.
It's scheduled to expire this year in the fall.
And no intention to freeze them again?
Not at this time.
Councillor Sean Cleary says changes will be done carefully and in consultation with the housing industry.
So that we can more appropriately and justifiably increase so that growth starts to pay for growth.
Halifax staff say creating a regional development fee could generate millions of dollars a year, helping to pay for library, fire, and transit services. Haley Ryan, CBC News, Halifax.
The province is creating a new electoral riding for a predominantly Acadian community in Cape Breton and promising a by-election to fill the seat within months. The government will split the current riding of Inverness into two to create a new seat called Cheticamp Margaries Pleasant Bay. It will become the fourth protected seat in the province, recognizing a traditional Acadian community. With about 3,900 voters, the Cheticamp riding will be the smallest in the province and will increase the seat count in the legislature to 56.
An organization of Nova Scotia students has announced a general student strike. It's in response to the province's budget cuts to post-secondary education that include millions of dollars towards scholarships.
Students have been working diligently to organize a province-wide student strike in Nova Scotia for months. Tim Houston could not have picked a worse time to attempt to defund public post-secondary education.
Students will vote to strike in the coming days with a planned walkout scheduled for March 15th to the 21st. Well, officials with Parks Canada are reminding Maritimers to keep their distance if they see a seal on a beach.
Some seals are in their pupping season this time of year and sometimes give birth on ice floes, but they can come onto land if there's not a lot of ice.
So we ask that people, if you do say you encounter a seal on the beach, you give it a wide berth. You don't get too close to it. That's for your own safety as well as for to not disturb the seal, because the seals are on the shore probably to save a bit of energy. And if you're causing them to go back into the water, that's disrupting what they would naturally be doing. They're wild animals, just like foxes are as well. But seals can give you a good bite, and we don't want that to happen either.
Officials say they haven't gotten many reports of seals on beaches, likely because there's more ice this winter.
If someone gets caught feeding or enticing an animal, they could be fined up to $25,000.
Oh, isn't that a pretty sight?
Pretty sight.
Ryan is up next with the full weather forecast. See you in just a few minutes.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
All right, we're going to get to your full weather forecast in just a moment here, but first of all, Ryan had a busy day today.
Yes, you got to meet some interesting folks.
I did, yeah. Usually out for school chats, this one a little bit different, but I wanted to give a big shout out and thank you to the folks at Building Futures. And we've featured them on the show before. They're in Lower Sackville, and they're a nonprofit organization empowering individuals with intellectual disabilities to make their contribution to society. And we had a great chat about the weather, and it was nice to see their cafe and tour their skills center. We had so much fun that we forgot to take a group photo. So I did grab this photo from their Facebook page just to show lots of the friendly faces that I did see today at that Lower Sackville location. So thanks again to the Building Futures folks. We just did have a great time today. And we were talking all about the weather and talking about the high pressure moving in. Look at this shot.
Pretty hard to beat that. That's nice.
This is a live shot from Sambro, and it is just a terrific sunset out there. Boy, it felt like spring today, didn't it? Just a little bit. I know it's early to say that S word here on the air, but when you have days like this, on the plus side, the light winds certainly didn't start spring-like with that wintry mix this morning, no question, or last night into this morning, and some icy scraping this morning for sure. There are the winds out there right now, and there are generally in the 10 to 20 range. Still some gusts upwards of 30 at last check, but the winds are easing, and we're going to be looking at overall a very quiet night tonight. There's still a chance for a shower mixed with a flurry over the next couple of hours here for Cape Breton. This activity here across New Brunswick is going to continue to sail off to the north. High pressure will settle in, and that high pressure area is key to driving this storm system, which once looked like a snowmaker for us. No longer offshore, thankfully. We've got enough for the time being, I dare say. This is the next system, though, we are going to be watching. And on the other side of that low, it is going to be dragging. You see this air that's Churchill, Yellowknife. It's really cold right now in through the Northwest Territories and in through Nunavut. And that cold air is going to be pulled down, spilling across the Great Lakes into the northeast parts of the U.S., and into our neck of the woods as well, and what looks to be the coldest air we've seen in about a month. As we look at the timeline here, there's that chance for a shower mixed with a flurry over the next couple of hours in through Cape Breton. Quiet for the most part tonight. Clouds a little bit picking up a little bit in intensity and thickness, I should say, overnight tonight as that system does pass to our south. But by tomorrow morning, we're pretty much done with it. We're looking at overnight lows tonight and to start tomorrow morning in the -5 to -8 range. Those winds from the west, right around 20 kilometers per hour. We'll see temperatures near -6 for Cape Breton with that chance for a shower or flurry this evening. Note, as we move throughout the morning, we're becoming a mainly sunny day. It's really, really nice. In fact, tons of sunshine into the afternoon tomorrow. With that sunshine, again, that sun angle getting higher in the sky, and temperatures are going to be on the plus side, I do believe, along the Atlantic coastline. Cape Breton will range from about -1 to -3. Could see some spots here near zero in through Richmond County and Cape Breton County and back into the eastern shore. I think we'll definitely see some temps. Places like Sherbrooke will be on the plus side. Sheet Harbor, Musquodoboit, Metro also on the plus side. Maybe as warm as 2 in the downtown area. Still near -1 to -2 in through Cobequid Bay, -3 in Amherst, and back into the west. Temperatures near -1 to -2 in the valley, but we should be on the plus side here along the Atlantic coastline in the South Shore. Saturday, how about these temps? Will range from 2 to 5 on the plus side, near 0 in through Cape Breton. So Saturday, A-OK. As this high moves off, we will see a bit of an east or I should say south to southeast flow coming in on Saturday, increasing the clouds Saturday night. System just off to our south, but it's actually this cold front that we're watching, and that cold front is going to move in with some flurries on Sunday. And on the other side of this front, indeed, it's that cold air mass we've been talking about, moving out of the Arctic, moving in for us, and really settling in. Doesn't look quite as chilly as it did, say, 24 hours ago, but this will definitely be a very cold shot. And then note, next week, looks like we're kind of riding the freezing mark, riding that jet stream where the cold air and warm air are doing battle. So that will bring us the risk of maybe a system Wednesday into Thursday. Forecast models are still trying to iron that out. But overall, pretty quiet the next few days. But yeah, keep the long johns ready for early next week.
Keep them
We're ready.
handy.
Okay,
All right.
Thanks so much, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Well, long wait times have been prevalent in Canadian emergency rooms for decades, but they continue to worsen, and patients are reporting close calls.
A St. John's man says his 8-hour wait ended with his heart stopping. Now he's calling for changes to prevent similar critical delays. The CBC's Mark Quinn has more.
After a more than 8-hour wait at the Health Sciences Centre in St. John's and a stressful ride across town to St. Clair's, Paul Reed watched his heart monitor go berserk, and then he lost consciousness.
I have a recollection of lights flashing, bells dinging, and seeing that heart rhythm just kind of go, and off I went.
The next thing he remembers is looking up and seeing a large man above him.
I flatlined. I know the nurse, luckily, was a 6-foot strapping man. He was ripped, muscled right up. And he was on top of me giving me CPR, and I came to a couple of times and I could see him. And I knew I wasn't seeing the Lord.
Reed's describing what happened to him at St. Clair's on June 14th, 2023. He's recovered well, but he says the events that led up to his crisis were unacceptable.
I had some trouble dealing with the whole situation. It took me about a year to get over it.
He's speaking out now after hearing a St. John's emergency physician tell CBC News that someone's going to die in a waiting room if the problem of hospital overcrowding isn't addressed quickly.
I heard that and I thought, well, hang on a second, it has happened. It happened to me. How come you're not aware of that?
Reed, who worked as a quality engineer in the offshore oil and gas industry for 3 decades, filed a formal complaint with the health authority.
I didn't really feel that it was as significant as I thought it might be. I got the feeling that they just wanted me to go away.
It left him questioning if real improvements have been made since his experience.
Wait times in the ER are what? 20, 30 years old. Think about that. People have expended their entire career within that system of excessive wait times, and nothing has changed. I mean, as a quality practitioner, that's mind-boggling to me.
Reed received an email from an official with the health authority this month that he shared with CBC. It says, I understand a thorough review of your healthcare experience did take place via the Patient Relations Office with a detailed response provided that identifies corrective actions. It said he did receive an apology for his experience, that there was an analysis of what happened which identified 3 problems and solutions, and a plan to give hospital staff more education about chest pain assessment and patient-centered communication. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Coming up, concerns are being raised about a new bill aimed to strengthen enforcement of illegal cannabis in the province. The Houston government is bringing in legislation to strengthen enforcement of cannabis rules. This comes amid a crackdown on illegal dispensaries. The bill increases fines and also allows peace officers, including constables and conservation officers, to enforce rules alongside police. For more on this, we're joined by Wayne McKay, Professor Emeritus of Law at Dalhousie University. First off, what do you make of the legislation expanding who can enforce cannabis rules?
Well, I think that's one of the more troubling aspects of this legislation. It's not unheard of, but when you're adding to normal policing functions other deputized people, in this case such as conservation officers, although it's more open-ended, they can add others as well. There are some concerns about whether they will be as well trained and capable of enforcing the law as police officers would be. And that's both a potential risk for those whom they are enforcing against, but also for the people themselves in dealing with sometimes fairly contested situations.
Now, both the Premier and Justice Minister have said it's not meant to target Mi'kmaq cannabis operations, but there are others who disagree. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I will certainly take him at his word that it's not the intent to target Mi'kmaq people, but I think that's not the only test that applies. The question about impact and effect is really important, and the effect of this kind of quite harsh enforcement is likely to be more felt and more directly affecting people on Aboriginal reserves or Indigenous reserves selling marijuana, because I think, as they earlier indicated, that's a fairly large percentage of those who do, not the only ones. There are other illegal dispensaries if the Indigenous ones are illegal, but we know that there's a large number of them that are Mi'kmaq, and therefore the impact may likely be larger there. So whether or not you intended, if the effect is more negative for a marginalized group such as them, that still is a problem.
And do you think this legislation could end up as part of the ongoing legal challenge over treaty rights?
Well, that's the other large issue here, that given that the issue around treaty rights and, for that matter, self-government rights for Mi'kmaq and other Indigenous people has not been settled in this kind of area, to proceed with this fairly strongly worded and strong enforcement legislation seems like bad timing. That once and if it's established, and there's no clarity on that is not an issue, that's one thing. But at the moment, the courts have not clearly ruled that the claims for treaty rights and Indigenous rights are not legitimate. And if they are, this is a pretty serious invasion of those rights. So that's, I think, a fairly major issue here, and one that the government certainly is aware of, because anytime they've raised this, this has come up as a significant issue.
Now, the bill would significantly raise the fines for cannabis offenses and proposes the introduction of minimum fines. What do you make of that?
Well, that's another somewhat unusual, not completely unusual, aspect of this legislation, to give minimum fines, and in some cases fairly significant minimum fines under this act, is something that the courts are reluctant to accept. Certainly that's true in the criminal area, and while this is not directly criminal, since it's enforcing provincial legislation, given the high fines, it's still a relevant area. Normally, the Crown has the burden of proving all elements of the case. Here, the issue is reversed as far as whether the substance itself is cannabis. And now, obviously, a key point. So now the person that's saying it's not cannabis, as long as it looks like, smells like, and appears to be cannabis, has the burden of proving that it's not. And while at one level that seems like a small point, it does go to the heart of the nature of criminal or criminal type legislation like this, and that is that the burden is on the Crown to prove all the elements, and the person defending should not have to prove things. Now, there are exceptions, but that's fairly rare. And one of the problems with that is that it takes away the discretion from the sentencing judge to actually decide what is the appropriate sentence in the circumstances. And the judge will be the one who has heard all the evidence and would know the situation. Having a one-size-fits-all penalty does not necessarily work very well.
Now, the province brought up the idea of permitting NSLC cannabis outlets on First Nations. Would that be a possible solution, or does it have more to do with the treaty rights?
Well, I think it does have mostly to do with the treaty rights. If that were a viable opportunity that the various Mi'kmaq people wanted to do, that does lessen some of the problems, but that has not happened to date. And if I remember the facts correctly, not that many of the Mi'kmaq people involved have been that interested in doing that, at least at this point. And as you stated initially, in any event, it is a question of who makes these decisions. It is a question of self-government. It is a question of treaty rights. And once those are established, everything else should go from there.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your perspective. We really do appreciate it.
No problem. Always happy to do this.
Coming up, Pierre Poilievre outlines policies aimed at Trump in his latest keynote address.
And Mark Carney travels to India for what officials in both countries describe as a potentially history-making trip. Welcome back. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has laid out his strategy for Canada-U.S. relations in the era of Donald Trump.
It's an issue widely seen as what hurt Poilievre's campaign in the last federal election, and pollsters say it still does. The CBC's Olivia Stevanovich reports.
The Honourable Pierre Poilievre.
In a room full of Canadian business leaders, the Conservative leader delivered his rebuttal to Prime Minister Mark Carney's Davos speech.
Canada's prosperity and security are inseparable from a stable relationship with the United States. And that is why we should not declare a permanent rupture with our biggest customer and closest neighbor in favor of a strategic partnership for a new world order with Beijing.
Pierre Poilievre says Canada needs to unblock its bureaucracy and resources in order to gain leverage in trade talks with the United States.
We cannot allow President Trump to distract us from the work we need to do here at home.
Poilievre pitched a series of policy proposals, including establishing a strategic energy and mineral reserve, cutting red tape on home building, and forming an all-party working group of parliamentarians for the Canada-U.S.-Mexico Agreement Review.
Well, look, I think this is a departure for Mr. Poilievre from what has been his primary frame and his primary story to Canadians, right? This is less about Canada being broken. This is less a grievance-filled speech and argument.
This pollster says Poilievre has no choice but to lean into the Canada-U.S. file.
On the question of Donald Trump and the Trump administration, you know, the Liberals have over a 40-point lead among those who care most about that issue. You can't probably win in this kind of environment if you're trailing the government and your opponent by that much on that.
The question for Poilievre now, will this reset be enough? The Conservative leader is planning to take his message across the country and overseas. Poilievre is planning his first international trip as opposition leader to Germany and the United Kingdom starting this weekend. Olivia Stevanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
Mark Carney has embarked on another foreign trip focused on trade. India, Japan, and Australia are the destinations, with the Indian stop holding out the biggest potential gains. The CBC's Catherine Cullen reports.
In his Davos speech, Mark Carney laid out a vision for how Canada was going to operate in a changing world. In many ways, this trip is going to start to fill in that picture of what the action to go with the speech actually looks like. India, Australia, and Japan are all countries that the Prime Minister is visiting for the first time in his role as PM. In all cases, the intention is to build trade relationships, to look at more opportunities for cooperation. India in particular, though, will receive a lot of scrutiny because the Canada-India relationship has been so fraught in recent years. There is a lot of enthusiasm about trade. India, the world's most populous country, the Indians saying that there is a lot of appetite for Canadian energy in that country. They have a lot of needs. They believe various forms of Canadian energy can meet it. But part of the tension in the relationship has long been the security relationship. In 2023, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau accused agents of the Indian government of being involved in the killing of a Canadian citizen, Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. And then the next year, the RCMP said agents of the Indian government were involved in a wave of crime in Canada, violence and extortion, intimidation. Now, officials with the Canadian government say that they believe that that kind of activity is over, that it is no longer a problem. Sikh activists in this country say, though, that that is not their experience. They believe that the claim is false, and they are very concerned about this growing rapprochement with India. One security specialist I spoke to says that he does believe that security will remain the 800-pound gorilla in this relationship, and that if something does go wrong, it certainly has potential to throw this growing and increasingly thriving relationship off track. Catherine Cullen, CBC News, Ottawa.
High-stakes negotiations have been taking place in Geneva today. Officials from the United States and Iran are holding a third round of talks. President Donald Trump is looking to make a deal to curtail Tehran's nuclear ambitions. Here you can see the USS Gerald R. Ford, the United States' largest aircraft carrier, leaving a port in Greece bound for Israel. It's all part of a major military buildup in the region by the U.S. to put pressure on Iran. Today's talks are viewed as a last chance for diplomacy before possible military action.
Cuba's government now says individuals who opened fire on its soldiers from a speedboat were Cubans who live in the U.S. The government says most of the passengers had a criminal history and were planning to unleash terror on the island nation. Cuban soldiers killed 4 of them and wounded 6 others. Kate Fisher has more.
Well, Cuban officials have said the American speedboat that opened fire on its border agents was carrying 10 armed Cubans who lived in the US, and it says they were attempting to infiltrate Cuba for terrorist purposes. The country's Interior Ministry said that in a statement, but it didn't specify how it had arrived at that conclusion. Cuban authorities say they also seized assault rifles, handguns, Molotov cocktails, body armor, and camouflage gear inside that Florida-registered boat. All of this took place within 1 nautical mile of Cuba's northern coast off its central Villa Clara province. The Cuban president tweeted earlier on Thursday, Cuba will defend itself with determination and firmness against any terrorist and mercenary aggression that seeks to affect its sovereignty and national stability. As for the United States, the Secretary of State Marco Rubio is saying that the US will not respond until it's conducted its own investigations.
We will know shortly, and we will know quickly, many more facts about this incident than we know right now. The majority of the facts being publicly reported are those by the information provided by the Cubans. We will verify that independently, and as we gather more information, then we'll be prepared to respond accordingly.
Rubio also verified that there was no US government operation in Cuba and no American government personnel were involved in this incident. All of this comes at a time of heightened tensions between the US and Cuba as the island grapples with a worsening economic crisis because partly of a US oil blockade. The Trump administration has effectively cut Cuba off from Venezuelan oil ever since it seized Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro in January. And Cuba said that 32 of its citizens were killed in that attack. Kate Fisher for CBC News, Washington.
Hillary Clinton struck a defiant note in her testimony before the House Oversight Committee, accusing the Republican-led committee of, quote, partisan political theater. She's urged the members to ask Donald Trump to testify about his ties to late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Nick Harper has more.
We had a strong statement from Hillary Clinton this Thursday in which she told the hearing she essentially had no information for them. She said she had no idea about Jeffrey Epstein's criminal activities and that she did not recall ever encountering him. She also told the committee that if it was serious about learning the truth, it should interview President Donald Trump under oath about the tens of thousands of times he shows up in the Epstein files. The House Oversight Committee, headed up by Republicans, has not so far called the president to appear. Hillary Clinton was giving her deposition behind closed doors in her hometown of Chappaqua, New York. We're told the hearing was recorded and there is a suggestion that Republicans could release something in the coming days, either some footage, some clips from that hearing, or potentially the transcript. Democrats are calling for the entire transcript to be released in the next 24 hours. The committee chair, Republican James Comer, maintained that his insistence of hearing from the Clintons was not down to party politics.
This was a motion, a bipartisan motion supported by the Democrats to bring the Clintons in. So I don't think it's any type of being unfair in any way to the Clintons. They've never answered questions, unlike President Trump, who gets questioned every day by just about every one of you.
Democrats on the panel said that they still wanted to hear from the president.
And so let's get President Trump in front of our committee to answer the questions that are being asked across this country from survivors and from those who have been brutally attacked and raped, sometimes as children.
Hillary Clinton, in her testimony, maintained that she never flew on Epstein's planes, visited his islands, nor his homes and offices. That's in contrast to her husband, the former US President Bill Clinton, who did fly on Epstein's private jet albeit, he says, as part of his Clinton Global Initiative charity work. Bill Clinton will be testifying before the committee on Friday. Nick Harper for CBC News, New York.
The head of the World Economic Forum has stepped down following a review of his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. The forum called for the independent review after Bourget Brenda's name appeared in Epstein files. The review by the WEF found, quote, no additional concerns beyond what had already been reported. Brenda has not been accused of wrongdoing, but says he's resigning so the forum can continue its work without distractions. Brenda says he dined with the late sex offender 3 times between 2018 and 2019 and communicated with him through email and text. But Brenda says he was unaware of Epstein's criminal activity. Epstein was convicted for soliciting prostitution from a minor in 2008 and was registered as a sex offender. The financier died in a New York prison in 2019 while waiting to stand trial on sex trafficking charges.
There are some ruffled feathers in St. John's over the city's seagull culling program. Officials say the birds pose a serious hazard to aircraft, but as Daryl Roberts tells us, the bird watchers think there's a better solution.
In St. John's, you can't go far without spotting a gull, but there is a place where they tend to congregate, in the thousands.
Landfills, especially landfills that have food waste in it.
Specifically, the Robin Hood Bay landfill, where as many as 25,000 gulls would gather on any given day. The problem is the landfill's proximity to the St. John's International Airport. Gulls can pose a hazard to aircraft, so in 2013, the city implemented a gull cull. Over the past decade, more than 11,000 gulls have been killed as part of this program.
I don't think it's that effective.
Jessica Lemaire studies cognition in birds with a specific focus on gulls. She says the St. John's gull population has actually been steadily growing for years.
It's because they've learned that there's not a whole lot that can threaten them. Their biggest threat is actually another gull to them that will attack them and try to fight them for their food. So it's pretty ingrained.
The city's wildlife management plan has also recommended deterrents, like pyrotechnics. Nothing seems to have worked. The plan does recommend diverting organic waste from the landfill to reduce the gull's food source.
The city doesn't seem to be doing, the one main thing that might, disincentivize gulls from going to the dump, and that's diverting organic waste.
The city spokesperson says the cost to do that would be significant, which leaves some critics believing that this gull cull is for the birds. Daryl Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
Canada's main stock index finished nearly 375 points higher on Thursday, helped by gains in technology stocks, while U.S. markets were mixed. Let's take a look at the numbers as we head to break.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
All right, we were back to wrap things up. And yes, there was some considerable melting of snow out there today.
I know. And nice weather for a Friday.
Nice weather
Can't
for a Friday and a Saturday.
Yeah.
So there's lots of good news to come here. We won't talk about next week just yet. Let's have a look first at our viewer picture of the day. A beautiful sunrise shot here. We're going to zoom in on Ingonish Harbor. And this is just
how nice.
Beautiful. Morning light. George and Janet Robinson, thank you so much for sharing this. Ryan's picks at cbc.ca. Okay, so tomorrow, beautiful sunrise, Ingonish Harbor, and across the province. It's going to be not quite as warm as it was today, but we're near the freezing mark. I think our best chance of getting above the freezing mark will be along the Atlantic coastline. We'll see temperatures 1-2 degrees there, 0 to -1, -2 for the north and northeast. But overall, pretty nice day. Those westerly winds near 20 kilometers per hour will gust to near 40 for Antigonish and then across into Cape Breton for tomorrow. For Saturday, it's a southeasterly flow, still light, but we will be looking at that breeze out there. But temperatures on Saturday will range from near 0 for Cape Breton, 2, 3, 4, and even 5 degrees for Saturday in and across the mainland. I think the warmest temperatures will be Yarmouth and Digby counties, back towards Annapolis Royal, places like Bellavos Cove. That's going to be a nice Saturday for sure. Then we've got that cold front that is going to be approaching for Sunday, and that will bring a reality check for sure that we're not quite out of the woods yet. There comes the system, and it will increase the clouds and move some flurries in for Sunday. And as you can see, those will arrive into the afternoon. And so, yeah, Monday, Tuesday, a little bit of a shot in the arm, but we recover for next week.
Thankfully. Okay, thanks, Ryan. Well, finally, we have some striking new images to show you, captured by NASA's James Webb Space Telescope. This is a nebula surrounding a dying star.
They called this the exposed cranium nebula for resembling a brain inside a transparent skull. It was first discovered more than a decade ago by the now retired Spitzer Space Telescope.
The Webb's telescope's advanced instruments make it possible to see more detail, enhancing the nebula's unique appearance.
Boy, sure does too. That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.